Hi, everybody. I'm Stephanie Steffer. I am the business director of CViConnect. And today we're going to focus in on our activity customization. So in CViConnect, you have a whole library of activities that we've provided for you that you can utilize with your students. But we also encourage you to customize your activities once you know what's working really well and making sure that we're ensuring your student is getting their unique needs met. So let's take a first look. Like I said, we've got our library available for you. I'm gonna go ahead and play this. And this is a video that, just a screenshot here of me scrolling through our activity library. All of this is uploaded as well on the ATIA site with all of the PowerPoints and things. So if you ever needed to look back at it or show some colleagues when you get back home, you're welcome to do that. But you can see we've got activities for kids in phases 1, 2, and 3. We've got some reading activities, letter activities, math, science. We try to hit that core basic of stuff that people would need across the spectrum of kiddos with CVI. But we also know that you're going to need that, like I said, that customization, that uniqueness for each kiddo. So to create a new activity, what I wanted to do in the PowerPoint is give you guys a couple of different things so that when you leave and go back and you're using your subscription, that it's still a valuable tool for you. But you'll see on this first slide that I've taken some screenshots for you, and it's going to go top down and then over to the right to go in number order here. So the number 1 is on the top left, and you're going to just touch the plus icon to add something new. Give it a title, and then you will select the library that you're going to put it in, which is usually just the name of your district or your organization. Every district and organization at least has one library that we provide for you. If you have several providers within your organization that are making their own activities and you'd like to separate them out and give everyone their own folder, you can do that as well. But to start, everyone is given your district's library to kind of choose from, and then just press save. So easy as that. And then, oops, let me back up here. Again, I gave you a video of me doing this exact thing. So I pressed the plus, adding, giving it a title. I'm going to select the library that it should go in, and then I'll press save. So you get those steps broken down for you on the slides, as well as a video of exactly how to do that. Once you're in the new activity, when you've opened it up, you're going to press edit in the upper left-hand corner. And then you can actually go in, oh man, back up. Sorry, I thought I hit pause on my video here and it progressed forward without me. Come on. Okay. So now that I'm in the actual activity designer, in the upper right-hand corner, again, there's a plus icon where I can add new, and then this toolbar is going to pop down, and I can choose from images, shapes, text, special effects, and then even more options available. So again, if I wanted to add some text, I will just hit that text button. A box will pop up. I can edit it right there on the screen. I can use a drag bar there that I can make the text larger or smaller, or if I wanted a specific size, I can click properties and then change the text that I'm using as well as the size of the text. I can upload images directly from my image library. We also offer a shared library of activities that you can choose from too. So some of these letters and numbers that you might need with what Dr. Roman refers to as the word bubbling. We have some of those already available in that shared library for you to access that you can continue and make more activities with. We have these arrows that we use as a way to turn the page for a lot of our activities. So if you wanted to continue using that like next arrow to turn pages from one activity to the next, you can use that as well. And then here you can see you can add a whole bunch of special effects. So there's like a little sparkler that's on the screen. And if I press play, you'll kind of see that flashing a little bit. But there's all kinds of special effects with like fireworks type thing. I mean, just all kinds of little things that you can use that will add light and movement to your activity and maybe get their attention in that direction. So depending on, or maybe you can even use it as like a reward. So if they get the correct letter in the right spot or the right shape in the right spot, then you can use that as a special effect, like, yeah, you did it, type of a response too. The other thing you can do when you're starting to create activities is duplicate an activity. So whether it's something that you've made or something from our library, you have the option to then duplicate an activity. So if you go from that main page when you're looking at all of our activities, on the right-hand side is this info icon, and you can use that to pull up the information about the activity. And just like on the bottom, there's the save icon that you used earlier. To save the activity, you can hit duplicate. And it's going to automatically do that, and it's going to give you take the exact same title that it already has and say copy next to it, and then you can just rename it and give it whatever title you'd like, and then save that accordingly. And then again, to edit that activity, you're going to come on, there it goes. On the left-hand side of that, again, main page where you see all of those activities, there's a little pencil icon. That's where you're going to go in to edit the activity. Then you'll press edit, like I just showed you in the video a minute ago. You'll press add new, and then you're going to get that toolbar where you can select from to pick which type of an item you'd like to add. Okay, so now a minute ago I talked about how you could make those special effects happen if the child did something and you wanted like a response. So we call those our events, and that's the way to make an activity interactive for your student. So here you'll see a list of the examples of some of those event types. So I always, as a teacher myself, I always think of like if-then statements. I feel like we correlate that well with our students as well, so I'm going to teach us in the same way. So if one of these things happen, so if the child touches it, if they land on a target, meaning they drag it to a specific place and let go of it, it lands on it, or that's missed, a caught item collision, or dragged over. Those are the types of things that kind of trigger. Also, we've recently started testing with if, looked at for, and then you can kind of change how long and things like that too. So we're working on adding more of these triggering events, but these are the main ones we've used so far in our activities. And then these are the types of things you can make happen. So you can make the appearance of something change, you can make it move, you can add an audio or visual response to it, change the color, change the background, or even switch to a different activity. So if they get this correct, I want it to go to this harder activity. If they get it wrong, I want it to go to this easier version. I have an activity for Dolch words that I created for a student where we have them read the word. If it's read correctly, they progress to the next word. If it's read incorrectly, it actually goes through and teaches them the salient features of the word, and they can touch and drag it up and make matches. They get it sorting of the word and kind of get some practice with that specific word before then going back into it and seeing if they can correctly identify that word then. All right, so here's an example of an activity. Oops, all right. So in this activity, we wanted it to be when touched that it would disappear. So I was looking for them to touch the correct letter, and then it disappeared on them so I can know that they were identifying the matching letter at the top. So let me show you how we made that work. We would go into the activity itself. I touch the item that I want them to identify. I'm going to go to Properties and go into Events. And so here's that list of events again that I was looking at earlier. So when touched, and when I click on touched, I'm going to get this what's called Blockly, where I'm going to then select from the menu below and pull up which one I want to happen. So I wanted it to move to the other item on the screen. So I fill that in. And that way, when the child touches it, it's going to move to the other way and kind of jump up there. Or I could make it disappear, or I could make it slide in different ways too. Okay, so here's another example. Here's the activity in action. The student's going to drag the bread to the cupboard because that's where it belongs, and then when they get it right, they get sparkling effects, and they go on to the next activity. So in this activity, we were sorting food items and where they belonged in our kitchen. We were working on some shopping with our students, and after they get back from the grocery store, things don't just disappear from the bags and appear in random places. Mom actually does that, and we have to know where they all go in our items. So we then took each of these different items. So I took the cupboard and pantry. That was my target location. And I wanted to know if it caught the item, since that was my target location. So if I dragged the bread to the pantry, that's where I keep my bread. If you keep it somewhere else, you could change it. But I wanted a sound to be played. So I drug up from audio visual. I clicked on play sound and put it up here. And then I put show item. So I wanted the special effects to show up. So I put the appearance and drag that up, and then I put the name of that item in there. And then I also wanted it to switch to the next activity. So if he got it right, I wanted it to move on to the next one. So I went to navigate and put in the activity code for that specific activity that they were going to switch to. Then I also had to identify how we're sorting this, because obviously we could sort things by shape, by color, by size, by what they are. And so I needed to tell the activity how I'm sorting it. So in this case, I needed to indicate what item is going to be caught and what item is actually doing the catching within the activity. So I just went into the properties and I labeled this as the category of bread. And then I told the cupboard that it needs to catch bread. So I went in and it says catches, and I type in bread. So pretty simple. And then the last thing I had to do was I wanted to make sure those sparkling effects did not appear until after he got it correct. So there's just a toggle switch that says visible, and I turned it off to make it invisible. And then again, if you remember a minute ago, I said that I wanted it to appear when he got it correct. Or when they got it correct. And so now, when they correctly drag the bread to the cupboard, it catches it, and it says, yay, you got it right. It does make a little noise, but I didn't plug in the audio jack because I forgot that it was going to. Okay, so we talked about duplicating activities a minute ago, but you can also duplicate elements. What's really nice about this, we're slowly building in more and more features in here. So if you're playing around and you're like, oh man, I really wish it would do X, Y, Z, just send me an email, because it might be something that's already on our list or that we're working on getting out, and we can bump that up the priority list if we know that it's something that you guys need. But so what we did now is that in this menu bar that pops up after you touch an item, one of those is duplicate. So after you create the letter and it's the right size that you want it to be, or the picture and you want all of them to be the exact same size and distance apart from each other, you can easily just duplicate it and move it around on the screen, rename it, and save the changes. Pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so those are the basic little things here and there, and a big thing is just getting around and moving around in the system. So does anyone have any questions? You guys can always come up here too. It's kind of just a small group, and it's probably easier than yelling across this loud room. So also, feel free, if you'd like, to stop by our booth. We are raffling off an iPad tomorrow morning. So if you haven't already, fill out that form, and you'll be eligible to win potentially a new iPad, brand new iPad for you. And this QR code on my slide here gets you my business card. Everything is .co, not .com, so it's not a typo. Or my email is stephanies@cviconnect.co. All right. 707. So if you go down this aisle to my left here, your right, and find the 700 aisle, we're the third booth on the right-hand side. Thank you.